Hey, what's up everybody? Here's the video you've all been waiting for, the up-close video of my trophy truck build. You've seen plenty of videos of it actually in action, but you've never seen what's actually underneath the body. So I know a lot of you were interested in how I did this, what I used, so I'm going to go over a lot of that today. First, to start off, I'm going to just tell you how this thing started out. I got the idea, I don't know, about almost 7 months ago in January to make a trophy truck. Saw a lot of them online and I thought it'd be awesome to make one myself. So I got some ideas together, started out with just if you could call it a joke, I guess, but I made a solid axle out of the slash rear diff, and it just kept going from there into 4 different types, and this is the 5th. So this is the final product I've come up with, and it works great. So now let's just go into what this thing's really made of. The other ones were based off the slash 4x4 chassis, but this one I wanted to make my own custom one that's 2-wheel-drive and with a slash 2-wheel-drive front. So it could be even more custom. So the base of it and most of the frame is corrosive resistant 5052 aluminum, and it's an 1/8 inch thick, and it's been plenty of strong. I don't think I would need any thicker. I don't think I would need any thinner, and it's not too heavy either, so it gets the job done, and it's pretty much what the whole truck's made out of. So the structure of it is made out of the aluminum and these bars that go between the 2 frames in the back. There's one here, and that's what keeps it all together. Alright, and as for the front, I'm using pretty much the front end of a Rustler. I'm using the Rustler servo mount slash top plate, the Rustler bulkhead, and the Rustler shock tower, which are all interchangeable with the slash except for this top plate. But I did narrow the front bulkhead, which is one of the main features I like in the front. I narrowed it by about 1 inch, and then I spiced it back together with some CA glue, and it held up pretty good. And I had to drill 2 new holes for the shock tower, which keeps the back end of it together. And for the front end, I made a thin plate with 2 holes for the hinge pins to keep the front from separating. So that keeps the bulkhead together. I like how it's narrowed, brings in the A-arms together a lot closer, and that gives you the ability to run the ProTrack arms without it being too wide. So that's the main feature I liked about that. Decided to go with the ProTrack arms to get the extra width. Could have went with JADOs, but they were a little too wide, and I like the look of the ProTrack, more aggressive. I just like the overall thickness of the look of them. Next, I'm running the Blitz, HPI Blitz front carriers and knuckles. These I upgraded from the, I think they're in Teji, the old red ones I had on there. Didn't really like those much because they're kind of sloppy, and they didn't really give me a lot of steering throw. So I wanted to switch with these HPI ones. You can see the arm on the steering knuckle is a lot longer, so you can get a lot more steering throw, get a bigger turning radius, which is what I needed, because before it wasn't good at all. So I switched those out. I'm using the HPI hexes that come with the Blitz ESC, which are really narrow, so it's not too wide, and I'm going to be running 0 offset. So that's the width to run 0 offset that fits under the body right, and I'm using captured pins on the outsides, so all that's strong. As for the shocks, I'm running the just the regular slash 2-wheel drive or Rustler front shocks with the SCTE springs. Decided to go with these springs because the other ones aren't stiff enough for this truck. It's just too heavy, and they just sag too low, so I needed some stiffer springs, and the SCTE ones were a good price, and they happen to fit well, so I'm using those on the front, and On the rear, I'm using the Traxxas ones. But I'm running sway bars on the front also. You can see I made my own custom plate right here out of the aluminum. I kind of cut in a groove for the underside with the sway bar, so that can slide up and down with the arms when they go up. You can see it right there. And I just basically connected that to the front with just a really short turnbuckle type thing, and just attached it on the front of the A-arm. So that's the sway bars on the front. They're a definite must with this thing because it will want to lean over in turns, so you need the sway bars in the front. Now going to the middle. This is the SCTE motor mount. Gone through many different types. I've gone through an Entegi aluminum transmission for the slash two-wheel drive. I've tried the stock slash two-wheel drive transmission, and I've also tried the Exile SCX10 transmission. All of those three, I didn't like how the fact that they offset the motor and you couldn't do anything about it. This one, you can stand it up vertical. I made that with 2 L brackets that just simply connects with these 2 screws, and on the other side I had to make my own plate. But that just gives me the ability to run the motor in the middle opposed to leaning on one side, so it centers the gravity a lot better. Also putting the weight a little bit more forward, which helps with jumping, so it's not parachuting too much. Other thing I like about this is that it's mod 1, so it's not going to be stripping easily, and it's a lot quieter, so it's a great thing. I don't have to worry about stripping gears if the motor happens to move just a slight bit. I can just tighten it back down and it should be good. So that's the motor mount I'm running. It's been great. I had to make a slight modification to get the axle to fit, but I'll show you a picture of that. What I had to do was I had to get a piece from the axle from a E-Revo drive shaft. I had to take that out and I had to weld it inside of the outdrive. You see, right here, you can't see it because it's on the other side, but I had to weld in that piece of the axle on the outdrive so I could attach the drive shaft to it. I needed a place for the pin to fall in, and it needed to be able to connect to the axle, so that's what I had to do. Probably the only way you could do it with this motor mount, so if you have any questions about that, just put it in the comments. The battery tray is just a piece of aluminum with L brackets on the bottom. Simple Velcro to latch it in place. This is from the Thunder Tiger model, can't remember which one, but that holds the battery in there nicely, and I have 2 posts to keep it from sliding backwards. Now to the rear shocks. These are from the HPI E-Savage, not the regular Savage, not the big one. It's the 10 scale E-Savage. These shocks come in sets of 4. I got them for about 30 bucks, and they work well for this truck. I'm using a lot of preload spacers and 1 Traxxas rear spring. You could double up the springs. It's just it doesn't handle the same way, and it wants to make the top spring do all the work. So I chose to run just 1 spring, and it seems to work well. The sway bar is also attached to the trailing arm, RC 4-wheel drive trailing arm, and that goes through both sides of these plates of the frame. You see it runs all the way through underneath the axle. I had to bend it down a little bit so it doesn't clip the axle when it's spinning, but it goes through all the way to the other side, and I made a little hook so you can easily take it off. But sway bars work great, so not too much softness, just enough flex so it's not gonna want to flip over, but it works well, so I'm happy with that. Now to the rear axle. This is the RC 4-wheel drive hardcore axle. It's $120, and I think it really is worth the money. Other ones you have to do a lot of different modifications to get it to fit right. You can see it's scratched up a lot from abuse from gravel and stuff like that, but it does work well. Had a couple problems with a gear stripped in there due to a stripped wheel nut. Wheel. So it was spinning, and it just stripped out the internal gear in here. So I had to buy a new one of those. But since then I've changed it. It's been great. So these are pretty low maintenance. Just have to keep an eye on it every once in a while to make sure everything's clean inside. But the drive shaft, I'm just using the Traxxas Heavy Duty from the Slash 4x4. I did a little splice to make this one longer to reach all the way to the motor mount. This is really important on these kind of trucks because it does take direct power from this motor mount. There's no slipper to make sure it doesn't twist or strip or anything. So this is taking a lot of torque, and it's going directly solidly to both of these wheels. So it's got to be strong. I've tried the Exile SCX10 one. I mean, it worked alright, but it got a little hot because it's aluminum, and it had a little set pin in here that kept coming undone. So I switched to this, and it's been great since. Now for the top two links, these are just threaded screws I got from Home Depot. You can buy them in, I think, 3 feet length. I just cut them up, threaded them in the tie rod ends, and I've been using those for the tops. I did also add these aluminum spacers to give it that extra strength, so it's not going to want to bend. And I attached it with the Exile SCX10 4-link mount. So I switched that after the stock one decided to just break on me. So wasn't really happy with that. So I made the switch to this one. It's been good, and everything's been not breaking anymore. So that's the rear end. The rest of the rear end's just framed aluminum with some L brackets. This for the spare tire. This is just thin stainless steel. They wanted to keep it light, didn't want to add too much weight if I didn't need to. But yeah, that's the roller. Now I'm gonna go into more detail of how I set it up when I'm actually getting ready to drive it, with the full weight, with wheels, with the motor, everything in there, just to show what that looks like as well. Alright everyone, got everything finally put together back on the truck. Spare tires, got the battery in there, motor, ESC receiver. This is the full setup that I'd be running when I actually go take it out to drive. So this is the weight it would be, added with the side guards on there. And these are made of steel, so these are pretty heavy. Couldn't imagine how heavy the truck would be if it was all steel and not aluminum. But this is the full weight. The roller itself, before I put everything on there, was about 5 pounds, a little over 5 pounds. Now, if I had to guess, I would say maybe 8.5, maybe 9 pounds. It's pretty heavy, but I don't really have a scale to accurately weigh it. So it's pretty heavy, especially with these side guards. These are steel, really strong. Helps to keep the truck together. It attaches it to the front and to the side, so it's like all one piece now. But I couldn't imagine how heavy the truck would be if it was all steel. So this is what the truck would look like if I went out to drive it. Maybe I would throw the LEDs in there, but this is fully assembled, full weight. The shocks, this is how they would act: full droop in the front, full suspension, and then full suspension in the rear. Just crazy how much travel this thing actually has. Now you can actually see it with the tires on there. It's just crazy. So it really does handle great on off-road, really bumps, those kind of stuff. It's just great. So I've been having a lot of fun with this thing. Just before we go, I'm just gonna do a quick little test. Yeah, the switch is kind of messed up. See, there's a servo I'm talking about. It's not amazing, but I mean, it gets the job done. kind of loud. But the rear end, I mean, this thing is pretty fast. It's got a lot of torque for such a heavy truck. Not the best gear mesh, but I had to throw it in there quickly. But yeah, that's the truck, fully complete. This is what it will look like when it's done. And it's been a long time trying to get to this point, and I'm finally really happy with it. So hope you guys enjoyed this video, this little tutorial on my truck. Hopefully this will help inspire some of you guys looking to build one. If you have any questions, please make sure to ask them in the comment section. Please make sure to hit the like button as well. Really shows me that you guys enjoy what I'm putting out. So thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time.